child not just knowing how to solve a problem, but to truly comprehend the mechanics behind it. That's the magic for me behind Singapore math. It's changing the game, and in my opinion, it sparks innovative math thinking. Hello, super mamas and super daddies. I am Erica, a homeschool mom of three. A 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, and an almost 11. And like The Bachelor, I've had my fair share of math flings. Beast Academy, love ya. Matthew C, love you too, boo. But I give my rose to Singapore Dimensions Math. I like the way it moves. I like the way it grooves. It's got my heart swooning. So you're probably saying, what is all the fuss about this Singapore math? Get comfy, because we're about to take a ride through Singapore Dimensions Math, exploring every nook and cranny from kindergarten to 5th grade. First, we'll discuss the features I really appreciate about the program. Second, we will peek inside and flip through the textbook, workbook, test book, teacher's manual, and home educator's guide. I got it all for you. Then stick around to the end, where I will answer some of the most commonly asked questions about the program. And to save you precious time and energy, the description box below, there are timestamps to take you quickly to where you want to go. Here are the 6 features I like about this program. 1. Structured progression. Imagine a house, one brick at a time. Singapore Dimensions is designed with a clear progression, building upon concept from one grade to the next. There's no jumping from fractions to decimals without the proper foundation. In kindergarten, they'll be counting like pros, and by 5th grade, they're solving multi-step problems like champions. 2, it moves from concrete to abstract. We start with real-world objects and experiences. For instance, in early grades, it starts with hands-on activities. Your kiddos might be using actual apples to understand addition and subtraction. Then they move into pictorial representations, where they draw pictures to solve problems. And then finally, as we're moving into the 4th and 5th grade levels, they grasp abstract concepts like equations, making them feel like math wizards. Now, all of this helps nurture a growth mindset, giving your learners the confidence to tackle any math challenges. 3, visual learning. Singapore Dimensions Math knows the power of visuals. With colorful diagrams, bar models, and visual aids, your kids will understand math concepts like never before. For instance, let's say there's a problem about sharing candies. Bar models will visually break down the problem, making it easier for the kids to understand and solve. 4, problem-solving emphasis. Here's where the real gold lies. This curriculum doesn't just ask kids to solve equations, it wants them to think critically. It's like being a detective, where they analyze and break down problems to reach a solution. This, to me, builds a rock-solid foundation for tackling real-world problems. 5, its mastery approach. This ain't about cramming and forgetting. It's about mastering each concept before moving on. If your child's struggling with fractions, they won't move to decimals until they've got those fractions down. This ensures that they're not just memorizing, but truly understanding math. And I'm all about creating true knowledge in learning. Number 6, video instruction. They offer now a paid subscription of pre-recorded lessons covering all the textbooks and workbook material for an entire school year. Right now, it's available for levels kindergarten through 6th grade, and I am loving on this feature for 2 reasons. It allows my kids to become independent learners, and it takes over teaching concepts that honestly, sometimes I struggle to explain to my kids. So it's great because your kids can follow at their own pace, and these are in-depth, engaging videos taught by a Singapore math teacher and trainer. So it's like having a private tutor in your home. Let's unpack this beauty with a magnifying glass.
There are 2 parts to this flip through. First, we will take a basic look at the materials available with the program: textbook, workbook, teacher's guide, test book, and online resources. Second, we will take a look at each of the textbooks for kindergarten through fifth grade to show the buildup and flow of the program. Like I said, I want to give you a full picture of what Dimensions Math can offer on your elementary journey. First, the textbook. As we open it, you will see very colorful and engaging illustrations. The organization of the textbook is very easy to follow and it provides clear explanations. The only con would be like with any other curriculum, it may not be suitable for every child's learning style. Some students may find the visual and abstract approach less engaging than other methods. For us, it has worked. As you will see here in a lesson, you get your lesson, you have a couple of areas here where they have to think about and learn the new concept, and then from there they have to do a couple of exercises to show that they understand the new concept that they've learned. Once your child has learned the concept in the textbook, we move into the workbook. Now in the workbook you lose those beautiful colored illustrations, but the black and white pages do not bother me at all. There are plenty of exercises to allow for mastering the concept at this point. Now, in that way, the program can feel pretty intense for some students and leave them feeling overwhelmed. So this happened with my son, and I simply slowed down and spent more time on lessons letting go of any grade level expectations. Now he's in a fifth grade age, but we are still finishing level 4. In my little nest, that is all fine and dandy as long as there is some type of progression. As you can see, the pages are perforated for levels kindergarten through second grade. This is a major thumbs up for families teaching multiple kids. You can slip it into a dry erase sleeve and reuse it. Unfortunately, in levels 3 through 5, they are not perforated. I love their teacher's guide. There's nothing like having an uncomplicated teacher's guide when you are homeschooling. Last year, I tried the Home Instructor's Guide, and it was a total flop. In a moment, I will show you why I didn't like the Home Instructor's Guide, but let's first open this up. It is spiral bound, which makes it so easy to flip through. Now, of course, the disadvantage of spiral bound is that you have to be more careful with your pages because they can tear out. I like that at the beginning of the teacher's manual, it provides a scope and focus chart that shows what to expect in the upcoming grade levels and also in the previous levels, as you see here. So we have the kindergarten, first grade. Now this is the first grade teacher's manual, and now it also shows me the second grade scope of work and what they will be expecting to do in third grade. I find this very helpful to get a very good overview of where the program is taking us. Each chapter in the teacher's manual begins with a suggested number of class periods. So it just lets you know how to break up the lessons. Now, of course, this is to our discretion, and you can go as fast and as slow as necessary. Then they take us into some notes, giving us more details on what to expect to be teaching in that chapter. Then we get into all the materials and manipulatives that we will need to use during this chapter, along with the Blackline masters, which are free printables available on their website. And at this level, at first grade, they also provide storybooks, which I think is a great idea of supplementary reading material to help support the concepts that we're learning. I find this guide very well organized, and the colorful illustrations make it simple to follow on a day-to-day basis. Once you get into a lesson, you will see how simple it is to actually move along. You will see here that how visual it is in providing full page illustrations of each textbook and even workbook pages. So it begins with giving us our objectives, the lesson materials that we'll need for that lesson, where here we have to think along with the student, taking them through their learn portion of the textbook, and then any other activities that we can supplement for that lesson. And then it tells us exactly where we need to go in the workbook. And at the end of each chapter in the teacher's guide, they provide an answer key for all of the workbook pages. All of these illustrations makes it so easy for me to follow along with my child and quickly correct their work. And this is the huge difference between the Home Instructor's Guide and the teacher's guide. I will show you quickly here in this home instructor's guide. You will see where it's all just black and white. We don't see the actual pages, and it just lists all of the answers. I find the teacher's guide way easier and faster for me to work with. Now, my only disadvantage of the teacher's guide that I have, which is very silly and small, is that it is taller than a standard binder size, so it fits a bit snug on my bookshelf. I'm not big on testing. With this program, I don't find it necessary because the textbook and workbook are already very thorough and providing enough exercises, allowing you to quickly assess if your child is grasping a concept. I use the test books from time to time just as additional practice when the kids are having a tough time mastering a specific lesson.
Remember, if you're enjoying this content, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe.
Let's talk about the online resources. First, video lessons. This is a game changer, my friends. Last year, I saw that they started offering pre-recorded video lessons of the textbook and workbook provided by a certified Singapore math teacher. I hesitated at first and thought, okay, I will continue teaching. But now that I am looking for my kids to become more independent in their learning, this tool is fabulous. For this school year, I have already purchased the video lessons and my daughter has started with it, and so far it is working very well. Second, we have the Blackline Masters. These are free downloadable printouts and I have found these quite handy. I haven't used all of them, but the ones that I have printed, I have laminated them and have been able to use them repeatedly with my kid. Just a note that the Blackline Masters are different from the home instructor printouts. Third is online, you can find materialism. There's a complete chart of the manipulatives and materials that are helpful for each grade level. Now, after all these years, I recently discovered this chart and it made it so much easier in one go to order all of the manipulatives that I wanted for the grade 5 level. Also online, you can find core standards alignment. For any family that has to align their lessons with core curriculum, you can visit the resource section on the website. They provide two very detailed charts. The first one aligns each core standard with the level, chapter, and lesson, and the second chart aligns each lesson with its core standard. We are going to dive into the textbooks for the kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade because I want to give you a big picture of the flow of the entire elementary program that they're offering. Let's go into the textbook for kindergarten. They are going to start with the foundational concept of numbers up to 10. Students are going to learn to count, recognize numbers, and understand basic number relationships. Then they are going to introduce the concept of number bonds, which is a critical concept in Singapore math. Students are going to explore how numbers can be split into smaller parts. Then we get into basic addition and subtraction within 10 using concrete objects, pictures, and symbols. And then we have also a focus on shapes and simple patterns, helping students to develop spatial awareness. In 1st grade, we are building on the foundation of kindergarten, extending the number range to 100. Students continue to develop their understanding of place value. At this point, we go into addition and subtraction, expand it to 2-digit numbers. Students learn regrouping or carrying and borrowing techniques. Then as we finish off in the year 1, they start learning basic concepts of money and telling time. And students get to explore geometric shapes and concepts like symmetry and congruence. In 2nd grade, we are extending our number range to 1,000, further strengthening place value understanding. Students continue to work on addition and subtraction, including regrouping with 3-digit numbers. Multiplication and division facts. Students will start mastering multiplication and division up to 12. At the end of this level, they are working on measurement concepts such as length, weight, and volume. We also start looking at basic concepts of fractions, including halves, thirds, and quarters. In the third level, the scope extends to numbers up to 10,000. Students with multiplication and division will continue working on their mastery, focusing on larger numbers. And then this is where we bring in more fraction concepts, and they are expanded to include equivalent fractions and comparing fractions. In fourth grade, place value understanding is extended to numbers up to 100,000. Now, with multiplication and division mastery, students work on multiplication and division with larger numbers and decimals. Concepts involving fractions and decimals are deepened, including adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators. We go deeper into understanding time. It also continues with teaching measurement and using advanced measurement concepts such as conversions between units. Here in the end, the students start exploring more complex geometric concepts like symmetry and coordinates. In fifth grade, place value understanding is further extended to numbers up to 1 million. Multiplication and division, here students continue to refine their multiplication and division skills, including long division. Fractions, decimals, and percentages, mastery of these concepts is emphasized, including converting between fractions, decimals, and percentages. Ratio and rate. Students learn about ratio and rate, which are fundamental in many real-world applications. With geometry and measurement, advanced geometry topics and concepts related to measurement and volume are covered. And this is where we get into our algebraic thinking. Basic algebraic concepts, such as using variables and solving equations, are introduced in this level. At this point, more advanced geometry topics like angles, perimeter, and area are introduced. The Singapore program divides the school year into 2 semesters. A-level books are for the first half of the school year. B-level books are for the second half of the school year. You need both A and B materials for a complete school year. Everything you see here are all the basic books that you need to be successful in the program. The teacher's guide, workbook, and textbook for A and B.
Let's hit those burning questions head on. What is Singapore math? Singapore math is a teaching method developed in, you guessed it, Singapore. It's all about deep understanding, visual learning, and mastering concepts. It's a teaching method that focuses on the why behind math and not just the how. It's like teaching somebody to fish instead of giving them a fish. What grade level does it cover? Singapore Dimensions Math covers kindergarten through 8th grade, providing a full package deal for your child's math journey. Up to grade 8, we have this design, and as of 6th grade, the book design changes to this. Not sure what grade level you should start at? All you need to do is go to the resource section of their website, and they have placement tests that you can use. Is it more advanced? It's more about depth than simply being advanced. It lays a strong foundation so kids are equipped to handle any math challenges that come their way. What's so good about it? Well, I don't know where to start. From nurturing a growth mindset to building problem-solving skills, this program equips kids for real-world math success. Picture this, your child not just solving math problems, but understanding the concepts behind them. Plus, it nurtures a growth mindset, boosting their confidence. Is it a mastery or spiral program? This one's all about mastery. Like a master chef perfecting a recipe before moving on to the next dish, it's about mastering one concept before moving on, which again ensures a very strong foundation. Are there any similar programs? If you're intrigued by Singapore math, you might also want to check out Beast Academy. We tried Beast Academy for half a year, but my kids were not having it. I loved it because it got that same spirit of critical thinking, but supersized, because it pulls in a lot of logic and out-of-the-box creative thinking. And how does it compare to Math U-See? Math U-See has more of a hands-on approach, while Singapore Dimensions Math dives deep into concepts, helping kids grasp the why and not just the how. We have also had our little fling with Math U-See, and I have to tell you, every so often it comes back in. And I like the fact that with Math U-See, it has this more traditional worksheet approach that sometimes allows my kids to really get extra practice with whatever skill we're working on. There you have it, a deep dive into the gems of Singapore Math. If you are all about setting up your kids for math mastery, critical thinking, and a growth mindset, this curriculum might be your golden ticket. Drop a comment below and let me know what programs have worked for you or what you'd like to hear more about on this channel. Until next time, keep shining and keep conquering. Peace.